Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this evening, Martha Kovack's 90-minute structured literacy block for grade 1. We will begin by acknowledging that we are meeting on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. We acknowledge that IDA Ontario serves citizens on the traditional territories of the First Nations of Ontario, the Ojibwe Chippewa, Anishinaabe, Iroquois, Mohawk, Huron-Wendat, Attawandaron, Cree and Moose Cree, Oneida, and Algonquin peoples. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this province. This acknowledgement reminds us of our responsibilities to our relationships and the ancestral lands on which we learn, share, and live. I'm Joanne Bertrand, and I'm on the board of directors of the Ontario branch of the the International Dyslexia Association, otherwise known as IDA Ontario. IDA Ontario is a charitable organization run by volunteers, along with part-time administrative staff dedicated to providing information and support for people with dyslexia and their families, as well as educators. You can find more information about dyslexia and our organization on our website, www.idaontario.com. Martha Kovack has generously offered to present for us this evening. She is the creator of letsgetreadingright.com, a website dedicated to providing educators with information and resources to help them get started on their Science of Reading structured literacy journey. Martha also teaches at Georgian College and Brandon University. Also joining us will be Jill Carney and Alicia Smith, also from IDA Ontario. I would like to offer a precision about our webinar this evening. It's with gratitude that we would like to emphasize that Martha, in her generosity and her willingness to share as many strategies and resources as possible, has prepared a sizable presentation. We encourage you to review the strategies and numerous links to the resources after the webinar. We'd also indicate that tonight's presentation was created with the perspective that our audience has or will obtain some training in structured literacy. So Martha, could I please see that second slide? Thank you. We would like to let you know that the link to the slides will be given in the chat. So that will happen very, very soon. And the recording of this will be offered and ready next week for free. So please share with your colleagues. We would be happy to share this information with as many people as possible. It's all for the benefit of our students who are learning to read with the Science of Reading and structured literacy. During our webinar, there is a Q&A function. We invite you to submit your questions. There will be a question period at 9 o'clock or maybe sooner. There is so much material to be shared this evening that we may not get to the questions until 9. If you have to leave at that point, that's fine. We invite you to come and see the recording on our YouTube channel. Again, the link to the recording will be sent to you in an email following this webinar. All right. We will also be sharing resources that are shared in chat in that follow-up email for you. We are also offering certificates of attendance to the people who can attend live. And Martha has generously offered to provide prizes for some people who are attending, not everyone, but there will be a discount code to some of her resources from her website. So that's for everyone. We're very happy and thankful. Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
Without further ado, welcome, Martha.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So as you can see, or as you heard Joanne say, I could spend hundreds of hours with everybody talking about what to teach when it comes to structured literacy. But tonight, I'm going to really try to focus on the how, not so much the what. So there are three things that I really highly recommend to everybody before we get started, like to get the most out of this webinar. And one is to just simply get some training. So I have created this website, letsgetreadingright.com. I started creating it just to put everything that I am learning to keep myself organized. And so here it is for you. If you go to Let's Get Reading Right and click on step 2, there are lots of training options like you will see here. For example, if you want to learn more about fluency and comprehension, watch this terrific 49-minute video. If you want to know how to make small changes right away, then pop on to see Stephanie Stoller's videos. If you want to do a deep dive into small group instruction, watch the Reading League. And this one I highly, highly recommend because we are talking about grade 1 tonight. And this is where the bulk of our foundational reading skills are taught in terms of spelling and decoding. And so the IDA Ontario branch has the Basics of Decoding and Spelling Instruction course that is really actually fun to do, fun little quizzes at the end. And it's really, really going to be helpful to give you a bottom line base foundation in the decoding and spelling pieces of structured literacy. Very reasonable. The second thing I highly recommend is that you go back to the IDA. There's a link here on your slides to watch Kate Wynn's webinar about structured literacy in kindergarten. So structured literacy doesn't start even in kindergarten. It starts at birth from language. However, when we're teaching grade 1, I'm sure you all know, there's a lot of catch up we need to do. There's been a pandemic. There are a multitude of reasons why students need to, we as grade 1 teachers really need to know about structured literacy in kindergarten and what would be ideal. And maybe if we need to backtrack. So this was just an outstanding webinar. So I highly recommend you view that. And then the third thing is that all of our instruction in grade 1 is really going to depend on our screening results. So we need to know where our students are at. And this is another thing that the IDA Ontario is doing, is becoming a literacy leader series. August 31st has already passed, but it was taped. It's on YouTube. If you go to this link and just click on and sign up for becoming a literacy leader, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see August 31st webinar, and it was also outstanding, and it'll give you a really good foundation for being able to implement and do the implementation that we're going to talk about tonight. So I hope that makes sense. All right, here we go. So this is our agenda tonight. We're going to be talking about 3 blocks. I know that this is all about our language and literacy block, but I've divided that into 3 pieces. One is going to be about 30 minutes of oral language routines. Second is going to be about 40 minutes of large group word recognition routines. And third is going to be small group routines to help those with the largest gaps who need extra support from block 2 routines. And then there'll be a section at the end about resources. So success breeds success. I love this photo. It just says so much about, first of all, how I got here. I started teaching in the early 90s, and one year I had the most wonderful principal, Ada Callio. I love her. And she offered us the opportunity to use a systematic and explicit phonics program. That's it. The more I saw, the really impressive results of that, the more I wanted to roll my snowball along. And so I just got interested right off the bat. When you see the results that you're getting, it just makes you want to learn more and more and more. And what we have to remember is that our students are the same. When they experience over 90% success, which is our goal, we want them to experience success. It's not good enough to make sure they get 30% success in school, or 60% success, or even 80% success. That is demotivating. That is not going to that's frustrating for them. They're not going to keep rolling that snowball. If we provide 90% success for our students, they're going to want to read and practice reading. They're going to want to push that snowball and make a great big snowball and make a big snowman. And so we need to scaffold enough so that we can give them that 90% or over success. And that's what structured literacy does. So success breeds success. Here is our friend Kelly Little. She's a grade 1 teacher who implemented grade 1, a structured literacy in grade 1 last year, and she's going to share lots of things with us tonight. And she talks about that success breeding. So listen to her chat. Wait,
Go back
I have
like
to
a
make
second.
sure
So
that we can hear that. Joanne, can you hear that?
so you have to break them of the habit of guessing. Go back like a second.
Can you
so,
tell me? Yes,
so
okay, because I wasn't sure whether I hit the share.
you have to break them of the habit of guessing. In grade
Right.
1,
So the ones who came in who weren't really yet reading, they just had the habit of kind of memorizing those level 1 and 2 texts. And, you know, they would think to themselves, okay, I kind of memorized it and my teacher got excited and whatever. But when you taught them that really reading is these letters make a sound and you can stretch them out, the first time that they would read these little Bob books or these little paper books and they knew they actually read it, the look on their faces just made everything so worth it, because they're so proud. And they know in that moment, oh, I am reading. Like I didn't know what this said and now I do, versus I memorized and I think that kid is painting, so that word is probably painting. Just so exciting. And parent feedback too. Yeah. Like the amount of parents who were
anyway,
just so excited about those.
It was really a sweet video. Okay, so some students, as we know, we're here with the Ontario International Dyslexia Association. Some students need very specific instructional strategies, and just doing phonics or handing out decodable text is not really going to solve all of our challenges. And then we also have students, we have to remember, that may not have word reading challenges, although these go hand in hand. You know, students with DLD. So these students have developmental language disorder, and they struggle with taking in language and understanding language and using language. So between students with dyslexia and DLD, they've really taught us what are the strategies that they need. And so we're learning, so students with DLD struggle with language, right? Taking in and using language. Students with dyslexia struggle with word recognition. They struggle with sound and letter connections. They struggle with spelling and reading. And of course, many students have both, right? They struggle with both ends of the rope. And so what's really interesting is that these two groups of students, those with dyslexia and DLD, have been teaching us all along what kind of instruction we need to make sure that the curriculum is accessible for everyone. Decades of research and experience with these students help us know what we need to make sure every student has equal access to the curriculum. So in the same way that just like with every building must now provide physical access to remove barriers for those with physical challenges, the Right to Read inquiry report is a profound first step in making sure that every classroom provides access to the curriculum. So for those children with hidden disabilities like dyslexia and DLD, the Right to Read inquiry shows us how we can make sure that all students can access the curriculum. They are hidden disabilities, which is unlike physical disabilities. And so it's taking a while, but we need every classroom, just like every building, to have access, to give every student deserves access. So I picked out a few points from the OHRC Right to Read inquiry report that would apply to this webinar tonight. So there are certain non-negotiable things that we have to do. Okay, so we have unicorn and rainbow ideas, which are lovely if we had 72 hours in the day to do everything we needed to do, but we don't. So what we're going to talk about tonight are the critical elements that will ensure equity. So, you know, it would be ideal, so much would be ideal, but what do we realistically have time for? So we're going to talk about that. And what we need are, so the people with dyslexia for over a century have taught us the nuts and bolts of what works for them in learning to read. So we're going to make sure that we do these 6 things. And I'm going to go over them one at a time. These are the kinds of things we're going to do in our large group and small group. So students with DLD, these are the things that they need to be able to take in language more easily and use, be able to express themselves. So one of the things that I wanted to really stress in this webinar is that we all need to work on using, well, all of these things, but using fewer words. A lot of our spelling rules and decoding instruction can get comprehensive, if you will. And so what we need are scripts to take those. We need to start using scripts when we're teaching it. That's what's going to make things more effective and efficient. And I'm going to help you with that. We also need to do exactly what I'm not going to do tonight, which is slow down and pause more often. Simple things that we use, visuals, all these things. So there are, well, if you want to learn more about DLD, by the way, you can go to this blog. Okay, but oh, and here is an example of what I mean by a script. So again, this is the what, talking about open and closed syllables. If you don't know about open and closed syllables, that's okay. But I highly recommend you go to the Basics of Decoding and Spelling course that the IDA has. That you will learn all about this, these things. So this is how I do a script to make sure that it's being equitable for all students. One is to teach about open and closed syllables. This is my script, point to the vowel. See, they don't even have to say or do anything. They can just point, right? Point to the vowel. Everybody can do that. And by the way, they all have a little vowel card. So it's just a little cue card that I fold in half. And I'm going to try the stop share. It's just a little cue card that the short vowels are on one side and the long vowels are on the other. And they always have this short vowel cue card in their hands when we're working together. It's just a nice little cheat sheet for them to always have that. And they refer to it a lot. And I'm going to share again and hope we get back to where we're at. Yes. So here's my script. Point to the vowel. Is there something after it? And all they have to do is nod yes or no. What does the vowel say then? And they have their little card and they're going to be going, ah, they know whether it's going to say ah or oh. So the word is, that's it. So I just wanted to mention that finding your scripts, whatever works for you, keep your words short. That's one thing we need to do. Here we go. Ready? All right, grade 1, here we go. 30 minutes, we're going to do oral language building as a whole group. That doesn't mean they're all going to be sitting on the carpet or at their desks. They're going to be moving. 40 minutes is going to be whole group learning about phonology and orthography systematically and explicitly. And again, that doesn't mean they're all sitting on the carpet for 40 minutes. And then 20 minutes, you're going to do 2 small groups. And you're going to give corrective, those small groups are so you can give corrective feedback to the children you're not able to do that with in the large group. I hope that makes sense. So let's take it one step at a time. Here we go. Block 1, oral language routines. And the first thing we're going to do is look at it as a whole, and then I'm going to go through it piece by piece. So you're going to do a meet and greet, sing, and set the stage for learning, about 10 minutes. You're going to do introduce a knowledge topic, right? Something from your science or social studies curriculum, and have the students talk about it and wonder together. Another 10 minutes. And then for 10 minutes, you're going to do a little language experience chart. Put up a poem, put up something that you're going to be reading every day and really diving into modeling writing. Okay, so let's talk about that one step at a time. First of all, 10 minutes meet and greet. However you want to do that, however you do that for you. For me, I want to set the stage by reducing stress. When children are stressed, their inner ear, Stuart Shanker tells us, Canadian Stuart Shanker, that the inner ear actually closes down from stress. And so whatever you can do to reduce stress in the morning, do it. Breathe. In fact, let's do that now. Everybody take a deep breath. You can shake it out like a lion, breathe out like a lion, do a yoga move, reach to the stars, take a deep breath and down, and do a yoga move, check in, connect with the children, and sing. When I was working with the Ontario Early On Centers, I created these songs for switching sounds, and I made these booklets, and now they've got them in these beautiful packaged booklets. I love it. So if you go to this link, you will find song for switching sounds like Old MacDonald had a farm, fee-I-fee-I-fo, and on that farm he had a cow, kee-I-kee-I-co. Right? So you're having fun. Got it? 10 minutes. Now we are going to introduce a knowledge topic. So you're just going to read for 10 minutes, something from your science or social studies curriculum, something that builds knowledge. Read a passage that requires the students to turn on their listening skills, something that requires effort, thought, and concentration, something that you can ask the see, think, wonder questions about and wonder together. This program here is called Core Knowledge. It's a free knowledge building curriculum. It's from the US though, so anything to do with history is going to be American and would have to be changed to Canadian. But the idea is that this is where I got the idea that you spend 10 minutes introducing and building curiosity and wondering about the topic in the morning, and then you can carry on with your science and social studies topic in the afternoon. Basically, you're integrating everything. There's a lot to learn about knowledge. So, okay, and then use your wonder wall. So you're going to wonder together about that thing, whatever the topic is, the knowledge topic you're building. But this is what I really want you to understand. Reading comprehension depends on knowledge. It's not something we can measure, remediate, fix, teach. We can't do that. All we can do to help reading comprehension really is bring about the conditions that will allow children to understand, to take in information. And this is best taught, so reading comprehension is best taught by improving language comprehension, building their knowledge about history and science and geography and social studies, and building their vocabulary. So reading comprehension in the early grades really depends, well, first of all, number one, reading comprehension depends on being able to read the words. Right? If you can't read the words, you're going to have a really hard time understanding. So you have to be able to read at the word level. And that's grade 1 is going to have the most focus on this foundational word reading skills. But we can do this within a content-rich curriculum, still build knowledge. And these, you're going to see me talk about the Melissa and Lori podcasts a lot, because I thought this is a way, you put in your earbuds, put on your running shoes, you go to the gym, or you go for a little walk, and it's a great way to get knowledge yourself about this, structured literacy. This is a fabulous book, The Knowledge Gap. I just love this book. And then, there are other resources there for you. So now you've read that, you've read your passage, and now you're going to have the children think, pair, and share. You've probably already do this. Maybe this is a terrific video that talks about not only getting children to talk to each other about themselves, what they ate for dinner last night, what they're doing on the weekend, what their favorite animals are, but we're going to provide prompts to build their knowledge, get them really thinking about the knowledge, about the science and social studies, get them talking to each other, practicing not interrupting, speaking and listening to different points of view, and even teaching them to pause and be okay with not talking all the time. I'm sorry, I don't have more time for you for that tonight. Okay, so the best way to support writing instruction, by the way, as well, is to make sure they have enough knowledge to write about. So we want to give them writing prompts based on whatever content knowledge we're building with them. So this is one of my students. What does it say there? The countries that was defeated. Germany was one of the countries that was defeated in World War I. So having meat and substance and knowledge to write about is one of the best ways to improve writing. Okay, so build that knowledge. New knowledge needs other knowledge to stick to. So we need to start building that knowledge base early to give them the best chance of success in high school. So, so yes, in grade, there was like a saying like, in grade K to 3, we're learning to read. In grade 4 and up, we're reading to learn. Remember that? we're not going to do, let's throw that little nugget out. We're going to change that to, yes, we're going to learn to read. And there is a lot of focus from K-2, especially on foundational word reading skills, but we're also going to learn to read, or sorry, read to learn. So we don't want to be afraid of, so you're also, by the way, I want to mention that, of course, you're going to do these beautiful read alouds, which is going to build all of that top rope part of Scarborough's reading rope. And it's just that when I don't know about you, but when I do a good read aloud, I can spend a good half hour to an hour on it when you ask the see, think, wonder questions and you really get into it. So that's going to be somewhere else in your day as well. I'm not going to really address that part. I'm going to assume you are doing lots of that wherever you can. And then we're going to, in this last part of the block, the last 10 minutes of block 1, we're going to model reading and writing using a language experience chart. So typically it's like morning message, what you do on the weekend, very simple things that have to do with the child's lives, because it makes sort of sense, doesn't it, that we want to focus on things that interest them. But guess what? Real content and knowledge interests young children, even young children. So let's make our nursery rhyme, well, you can either do a poem or a nursery rhyme, or write something about your content topic, and then discuss things like grammar, syntax, whatever phonics you've covered. You can differentiate this because you know who's at what level and who can do what in terms of what they know. You can teach vocabulary, and you can use this time as a prep for Fluency Fridays. Now, some of you might be saying, Martha, I thought that, I'm really confused because I thought that we weren't supposed to teach, to give students print unless we've already taught them. But what I want to reassure you about is just because we're teaching them very systematically and explicitly how to decode, it doesn't mean we're not also showing them, giving them, and reading them more challenging text. This is a terrific podcast about that. Again, slip on your running shoes, go to the gym, go for a little walk around the block, and listen to this podcast. We definitely want to keep reading challenging text with them and even allowing them to do that. It's not incompatible with what we're doing in terms of structured literacy. So let's get back to Fluency Fridays. So this is really fun. Again, there's a great podcast there. Tim Rosinski has been studying fluency for his entire career. And I love this idea. On Monday, you're going to read your little Shel Silverstein poem or whatever you've got. In grade 1 at the beginning, it's very, you're going to have to keep it very simple. And maybe I would start with really easy rhymes that almost every children knows. Right? And you just keep it very simple. The idea is, yes, it kind of seems like we're teaching them to just memorize. That's not what we're doing. We're not teaching memorizing. We are teaching how to read with fluency, with flow, with prosody. And so that's what this is about. It's going to be okay. And then we're going to choral read together on Tuesday and practice in small groups on Wednesday and have a rehearsal. And then Friday, invite somebody in. And by the way, this is just them reading as a whole class. It's not individuals, one at a time or small. You're just getting them to read as a whole class. It's just a nice, quick, easy thing to get them practicing reading, and you hand out the little poem and they feel really good about it. So think about that. That might not be able to start for you until January, but that's Fluency Fridays. Okay, and then this is also a terrific 49-minute video all about fluency and comprehension that I highly recommend you watch. And that's block 1. Are you ready for block 2? Everybody take a breath. I'm going to. And a little stretch. All right. How are we doing? Joanne, can I just get a check-in? Does everything seem okay?
There are so many wonderful questions and comments. Keep them coming, everyone. There's a large group of people who want a lot of resources here.
They want a lot of resources. So you're waiting for the resources.
No, they love everything. They're making excellent.
Okay.
Keep doing.
Okay, stop me if we're going to keep going, and then hopefully we'll get all those questions. Write down your questions, everybody, and we'll get those answered at the end, because I'll stay for as long as you want. But yes. I want to cover everything. Yeah.
We are collecting the questions in a document and we will be saving them for you.
Good. All right, block 2. Here we go. This is going to be 40 minutes whole group instruction. What does that look like? Well, I know this is a wordy slide, but stay with me. So the reason I put alphabet on a string and very valuable vowel song up here in red is because these are the things you're going to have to cover coming out of kindergarten. If they didn't get covered, if well, there's an abundance of reasons why, but you want to make sure that we understand the alphabet as a whole and they know about vowels. So that's sort of separate. And then as you go throughout your whole year, you want to do these 6 things in your large block. And of course, look at my note here. These times times here that I have are just a starting point. You might end up throwing your beautiful high quality children's read aloud in here one day. Don't try to make it perfect. I'm just giving you a suggestion. So 10 minutes you're going to do, for those of you who know what this means, your slide deck or your card deck. So you're going to have children say their letter sounds, and then you're going to have them print. Then you're going to introduce a new pattern and build words with that new pattern. Then you're going to print words with that new pattern. Then you're going to dictate a couple sentences for them while they're back at their seats, and they're going to read, edit, reread, and reread their sentences. Block 2. How does this look? Let's start with alphabet on a string. So you see it behind me. I use it all the time. And this is a really great way to make sure that we are that our students have the concept of the alphabet as a whole. So make sure you add SH, TH, and CH to the very end. And because we don't want to leave out Charisse and Charlotte and Theo, right? Their names start with those sounds. So the main idea here is that you get a pointer and one child points to each letter as you sing, A, B, C, D, E. So all the children sing while one child points. And the game is, it's got to be a game, it's got to be play, that you stop on a letter. So I'm going to stop on A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm going to stop on F, but all the kids kind of accidentally keep singing because they didn't notice I stopped. And all the kids laugh and they think it's fun. It's that simple. So you just get, and it's great for one-to-one correspondence. It's great to just get them naming the letters. It's great to switch letters. So I'm going to switch C and D. Now we're going to sing. Ready? A, B, D, C, E, F, G. That's harder than it sounds. And they giggle and laugh and have a lot of fun. You could also drop a couple letters, like drop D and J and P, and say, oh, I dropped all these letters. Who can help? Can you help me put these back up where they belong? Mix them up. You could also have them talk for kids who need a bit of a challenge. You could say what comes before J and after H. And you could take one away. So that's one of the first things you want to make sure is they have a good grasp of the alphabet as a whole. And for kids who need it, you can always go back to that in your small groups. Then you're going to do the very valuable vowel song. Ready? So again, with the pointer, one child is going to point. You can have these big letters up on your whiteboard or blackboard or chalkboard. So one child points A, E, I, O, U, and the whole class sings A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I. Now the child has to stop, right? And so they really have to pay attention to what they're pointing to. A, E, I, back to the beginning. A, E, I, O, U. These are the vowels. These are the vowels. A, E, I, A, E, I, A, E, I, O, U. And as you can see, as you learn things, you can get them to print themselves in pencil, the different things as you learn. I always use these keywords, by the way, because they're very easy to make a quick action to, and they're very easy to hear. Apple, you need to really open your mouth wide. Exercise, I always show them my barbells and we pretend to exercise because you can really hear the It, octopus, and Again, you got to get training to learn more about all of those things. But the idea is to talk about vowels and make sure they understand why are these letters in red? Because they're important. They're the vowels. What are the vowels? A, E, I, O, U. What are the short sounds? A, E, I, O. What are the long sounds? Why do we care about them? Why are vowels different? Who knows why they're different? Because they're not obstructed with our lips, tongue, or teeth. A, E, I, O. again, more the what, but those are the things. Now, the next thing you're going to do, and this is sort of step one, once you get all of that out of the way, you are going to just show your code pack and show them one letter at a time, and they just say it. So, b, t, f, u, g, or r, s. That's it. Show them a letter and they say the sound. Eh, I, b. Right? That's it. I have a code pack on a slide, and some of you may already know this or have seen it because I think the idea was giving you a link to it, but here it is again. If you want this all on a Google Slides, I've got all the things, the scope and sequence in an order and all the letters in an order in a Google slide pack that you can just make a copy and change it and do whatever you want to it to make it your own. If you lose this link in this presentation, you can always go to Let's Get Reading Right, go to blogs, find the blog that says Connecting the Art of Science with the Art of Implementation, and you will see and click on Grade 1 Daily Schedule Literacy block, and my actual scope and sequence is there, and the link to the primary code pack is there. So now we have to do part 2, like 1B, is they have to actually learn to print. So every student is going to get like a little card, a little board with a top line and a bottom line. That's really easy to see. And then a dotted line. Everything should be kind of smooth, or you can do a carpet if you want, or something not smooth, but I always like smooth. It's easier on their little fingers, and it's still going to get some tactile sensation. And you're going to say, what spells L? And they're going to say L, lion, L, or however you do it. What spells T? Again, a tall stick, T, turtle, T. Good. What spells H, hippo? And you might even say tall stick, or however you do it. This is how I do it. Tall stick. What spells tall stick? Okay. That's it. They're going to say the letter name, the keyword, and the sound. But I'm going to keep reiterating what makes a difference for our students with dyslexia as opposed to everybody else. It's printing and saying it simultaneously, not going like this. H. No. You're going to go H right there when you start making it. That's hard to see. So in a large group, so you're going to have to cover that in a small group. Does that make sense? You're not going to catch everybody in the large group, but it's going to be okay because you're going to take 8 kids in your small groups and cover that again. Make sure that they're learning how to print. Let's take that cognitive load off for them and teach them how to print. So here's an example of what spells when you don't show the letter. This is my friend Gloria. She's a doll. Watch how fast she goes. What spells F?
E, exercise F. P, peacock.
3 ways.
C, cat. K, kangaroo. C, K.
So I had to give her the keyword.
Croc. H, horse.
That was an N.
H, horse.
Up.
U, up.
She can't remember. Now I gave her the keyword.
Math.
Now she's got it.
T, H, math.
And what spells?
Wait, F, frog, fox.
She can't remember, so watch what she does.
D.
Good.
D.
Okay, so you
Dog.
see how hard that is for some children. Okay, so now let's go on to now we've got our letters and sound connection, and we're going to learn a new spelling pattern. How are we going to do that? You're just going to say, who can guess my sound today? Shh. You don't show them these words. You're just all oral listening. Ship, shin, shower, shoe. What's the same now? Emily Moorhead does a great job of this in kindergarten. If everybody did that, you wouldn't have to probably even do any of this. So definitely watch her webinars too, which are on the IDA previous webinar's link. So, but what I like to do is a sound swap. So I'm going to explain this. Let me just stop share for a second. So in a sound swap, you take all the kids are in a circle watching, and you maybe choose 6 children or 5 or 6 children, and they're all holding a letter. So I'm holding S, and Jill's holding A, and then the new spelling is going to be introduced in there 2 or 3 times, maybe once or 2 people are holding the SH, that's new. And all you do is they stand in a circle and one person doesn't have a letter. And so I don't have a letter. I'm going to look around and I'm going to grab your letter and say, shh. Now I've got shh. Now I'm going to hold it. Now the person I took the letter from has got to go steal somebody else's letter. And so they go and they steal s and they grab it. Now that person has to steal somebody else's letter and they grab it. And this just goes back and forth really quickly, but it's a fun way to get used to the new spelling that you're introducing. It's kind of fun. I hope that made sense. Share. All right, so that's how I introduce a new spelling pattern. You are then going to build words, and you can use magnetic letters on your whiteboard or chalkboard. You can build words using like anything you want. This is how I do it. And then you word chain too, right? So if you don't know what word chaining is, this is a great video from the University of Florida Literacy Institute, and they do a good job of describing what word chaining is, which is just like, okay, let's build hat. Can you change hat to had? And so then you just have one student come to the board, right? And they quickly do it. Now they sit down. So students are popping up to the board and sitting down all the time. All the time they're moving. And I hope that made sense. You're just building words. You're just getting children to build words and then doing word chaining. That's part 3. I would also do a little bit of syllable work here in this section, this new spelling patterns. So maybe some review of closed and open syllables. For example, I have all these jars and I might give a word like happen and say, how do we read this word? What's the first thing we have to think about? What's the most important part of the word? And then everybody goes, it's all about the vowels, not the consonants. And so they underline the vowels and we, physically cut it and physically put it in the closed syllable jar. So I've got all the different jars there. So that's something you could do there as well. We're getting to the resources, we are. And then we're going to do get them to print their letters. So this is really, really important. It's kind of a non-negotiable. You can do phonics in many ways. Everybody does phonics, but there are ways you can do it that are helpful. There are ways you can do it that are problematic, and there are ways you can do it that are really effective and efficient. And this is one of the ways that I know has worked for my students. So how do we do this in a large group? They go back to their seats, they get their little notebooks, and we're going to just write 10 words. So they each have their little cubes or tokens. You could use poker chips if you want, or anything. And you say sip. And they say sip. The whole class says sip. And then they point, tap it, and they all say sip. And then they say the letter names, S-I-P, and then they write in their notebook, S-I-P. Again, training would be helpful here. And then the students all repeat the word sip, and then somebody makes up a sentence for sip. And my script for this is there. So here's a video of what that looks like.
All right, let's try the next word. Clog. There is a clog in my drain. Tap it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So always make a sentence.
G. C-L-A-O.
Okay, so this
Let's
is
hear
one
it
that you would
again.
take in your small
Sound?
group.
Clog.
Clog.
You can do it.
C-L-A.
Well, we have to listen to the sounds first really carefully. Tap it.
Og. C-L-G.
Listen to the sounds again.
Clog. Og.
I'll tap it. Got it?
CLOG.
Right.
CLOG. CLOG.
What's the word?
Clog.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Next word?
Not the clog.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, wait, let's stop.
Let's
this.
try the next
Okay,
word.
so that was an example of what you would do in a small group, but I'm just saying as a large group, this is what you want to do. You want them to segment. This is where if anybody's out there asking, where do I do phonemic awareness? Where do I do phonemic awareness? This is it. This is it. You're doing phonemic awareness while you're doing this, but while they're tapping to the sounds. So you say, you just tell them how many cubes to put out, and the red, they know the red is always in the middle. And they all tap together, and then they point and say the letter names together, and then they print together. And then this is so much more effective than filling out a bunch of worksheets and playing 15 minutes of phonemic awareness games with a lot of students who don't need that. Right? I'll show you in the small group who needs it. Then you're going to dictate 3 to 5 sentences for them to write in their notebooks at their desk, and then they're going to remember that some kids are going to need some help, right? Underlining in their notebooks. I'm sure we've all done that before. And then they're just going to reread their sentences to a peer, choral read their sentences with a peer, edit their sentences, edit their peers' sentences, have students read their peers' sentences, and reread. So that's where your reading comes in. And then this is from super teacher and friend, Suzanne Crowther, who took the journey. So my primary code pack is, and my scope and sequence that I gave you is to the Journeys decodables. They're free decodables, which is on the Let's Get Reading Right website under resources. And she made up a list of sentences to go with the first 2 units. So then you can make these sentences for yourself so that you just take them from your decodables so that you know which sentences to give them. And you can also use this page as they can read these sentences and highlight the sentences that they can read fluently. It's just super simple. All right, block 3, small group routines. How are we doing, Joanne? Can I do a check-in? Or Jill?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm busy putting questions into the document. We're doing very well. Please continue. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, block 3, here we go. So that's block 2. We're going to do 40 minutes as a large group, and then you're going to go into a small group where you've got 2 small groups. Okay, so my thing is sort of, oh, there. 2 small groups, 4 students for 10 minutes, 4 students for 10 minutes, and you're basically going to repeat. Wait, I'll show you in a second what you're going to do with them. But the other students are going to do growth centers. They're going to play a game. They're going to read or write. We don't want students in a large group on their own while you're working with a small group for 40 minutes. There's so much time there that those students need to be more on task. And so 20 minutes is okay. They can handle that. And they're going to play a game or read or write. So let's take that one step at a time. In your 10-minute small group, I call this the big 3. The big 3 is what you're going to focus on in your small group with those 8 children, right? 4 children and 4 children, 10 minutes each. Those children that you know because you've done screening and you took that, you took that screening, universal screening webinar that I talked about at the beginning. You took that screening webinar, so you know which students need your help, and it's not always who you think it is. Don't make assumptions here. Get the training, get the assessments that you need to be able to determine that. And these are the things, those big 3. If once that's going and you've got quite a routine, it can come down to a minute, 3 minutes, 1 minute. At first, it's going to take the whole 10 minutes, maybe just for that. And maybe the whole 10 minutes just for those 2 things. And maybe the whole 10 minutes for just those 3 things until you get into a routine. It's okay. You'll get there. It might take till January to get here, but it's better to spend your time doing these things. Then the routine becomes a minute, 3 minutes of the slide deck, 1 minute getting them to blend. On Mondays, you'll get them to build words with the spelling pattern of that you're doing. On Tuesdays, you play, I'm going to explain these magnetic bingo chip folders that Kelly Little found. They're amazing. On Wednesdays, you do the SOS printing, same thing that we did in the block 2. Then you're going to have them print sentences on Thursday and read decodable, or it's actually called controlled text to everybody. We're just going to use decodable because that's what everybody says, but everything is decodable. It's so controlled is really what we should be saying. Anyway. Okay, for number 1, you would get the, Haggerty, I'm sure, or sorry, David Kilpatrick's Equip for Reading Success. And this is how I would do it. You got 4 students and you're doing the, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to get the Equip for Reading Success book, read that. And you're going to go, okay, say pitch. And only you two students answer, and you two do it in your head. See if you can get it in your head. And that's kind of a fun exercise for them, actually. And then it stops, you're only working with 2 students at a time. Say pitch, pitch. Now say pitch without p. And they should say itch. And then the other 2 are doing that in their head. And now you can switch. Okay, ready? Say flap, flap. Now say flap without f. And then they could do it. So you're just going to do that. And remember that it's not good enough for them to just go, say pitch, pitch, say pitch without p. Itch. That's okay, but our goal is to make it automatic, right? We want proficiency, not just accuracy. We want both. That's your goal. Then you have to realize that we're going to have to, the other thing that I want you to know about the big 3, right? So this is the one of the big 3, is you might have to backtrack. Go back to the alphabet on a string and hang out there for a while and do those activities. Put letters on a cookie tray and get them to just point and name the alphabet. You can put letters on popsicle sticks and get them to do alphabetical order. Something where they're learning about the alphabet as a whole. So that something like watch this video, it's fabulous about sound chaining and you use the blocks. So something where you're building their phonemic awareness. Then you do the code pack, just like in block 1. Then you do the code pack where they trace, just like you saw Gloria doing, exercise F. And then, this is a great video of a teacher doing this in a small, she's got 6 there, I would only have 4. And she does a really good job of keeping it peppy and engaging. And she's got little routines. So take a look at that when you get a chance. And then the third big 3, right? The third thing of the big 3 that we need to make sure we focus on in our small groups is blending. And you can watch Marnie Ginsburg's videos on Reading Simplified. Google Reading Simplified Continuous Blending and you'll get lots of videos. Watch those because we don't want children to go through life going cat. We need them to go cat. We need them to read smoothly. And this is different than just memorizing cat. We need them to understand how words work, right? The alphabetic principle. But we don't want them to go and stop there. So I'm constantly working with my students on getting them to blend the first sound and the second sound together. That's the hardest part. So you can do this in a number of ways through card flipping. So you just, let me see if I can share this, if this works. Can you see that? Can everyone see that? Okay, so card flipping, hopefully you can see that. Lot, hop, zom.
Very nicely. Thank you.
You can? Okay,
Yep.
good. Great. So that's card flipping. It's as easy as that, but there are strategies to get them to read. So what's going to be different about you listening to this video is you're going to make sure that they don't go, it's okay if they start rob. And a lot of kids, kindergarten teachers do a great job of making sure they come, like I've seen some really great students who come and go rob, but they struggle with reading because they can't go raw. So this is continuous blending where you get them to raw. And I always say, you read the first 2 and I'll give you the last one for free. Rob, good. And they go raw. And I say, good, Rob. But before you know it, they can't wait to read the last one too. And then don't forget to always, whatever you're reading, make up a sentence. Rob, don't rob the bank. I don't know. Or the game is, if it's a real word, John, that could be a real VOD. they can't thump there, but if it's a real word, that's not a real word. Gob is a real word, so they thump if it's a real word, and you turn it into a game. So blending is the thing that you need to do the most. Okay, so thump if it's a real word.
Now.
Take 3.
Okay. Go.
Oh, stop. You probably can't see. You probably can't
Now.
see.
Take 3.
Because I stopped. I didn't do the
No, we could see it.
Oh, you could? Okay, because I didn't stop my dot cam. So right now you can't see me, right? There we go. Now I'm back to
Yep.
hello. All right, let's go again. All right, so that was a video of basically what I just showed you. I think we can move on. Because I don't think I can go back. Oh, yes, I can. Okay.
Now.
Take 3.
Watch
Okay.
Anne. It's very
Go.
difficult to blend Anne.
Fan. Thin.
That ah turns into an eh.
Fan. Fan.
Than. I am bigger than you. Than. So if this says than, this probably says,
Nan.
that's right. And
Like nan.
if that says nan, this probably says,
Dan.
now let's try to blend.
Tan.
Nice. And
That's word.
Anyway, you get the idea.
Queen.
well done.
So it's a lot harder than it looks. Okay. So, oh, by the way, if you want to do this online, you can go to Book Widgets. I pay $8 a month. It's fabulous. I can do all of that card flipping stuff on this activity called randomness, and you can set that up. And these all flip online. It's really fun. So there are some strategies that I have used to help students blend. This one has a green arrow because it is the most important. You could also play a spoon game to blend. So this is fun.
Blush.
Oh, so what are you going to do when you see the S?
Whenever I see the S, I'm gonna smile. Like
Let's
S,
hear it.
Smile.
What does the S say?
Blush. Bless. 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 It says bless. Blut. Lug. Bluff.
Super, super. So you're just
Lug.
going to have, and then, so those are your big 3, right? Phonemic awareness, sound letter connections, tracing, and blending. Once you get that underway, now you can do the whole Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing. So you can build words, same thing as same thing we did in block 2. So build words, word chaining, you can give them each their own little, except this time they each get their own little magnetic board to build. And you've all seen that, right? Something like that. It's pretty easy to do. And word chaining. So that's where you do that. Tuesdays, you can play a game or do something where they're reading lots and lots of words. So these games, I'm going to give you a promo code for. So you can get 50% off all my digital games, but there are 150 different CVC games you can start with there. And you know what's a really good activity here is fill in the blank. So this is sort of the activity that I've got going on here. You put an I and they have to say the vowel sound at exactly the same time they print it. So they print so they say I and read the word fit. I, his, I, bin. That's a very effective activity. It's also very activity to just read words and highlight the words you read. And you might, if you have a word, again, this comes from Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne. So these are word lists, but I caution you to not let children go down. Fit, sit, bit, hit, lit, kit. That's rhyming and that's not going to be as helpful. You might have to start there, but then you want to go this way, right? This is where the real orthographic mapping is going to happen. Fit, his, bin, tip, right? Because you have to look at all 3 letters in order to get that. So always read sideways unless you would need to scaffold. Okay. Wednesdays, you're going to do the printing just like we did in block 2. You're going to go over that with them. Thursdays, you're going to dictate a sentence to them just like we did in block 2. but you're going to give them individual attention at that. And Fridays, this is where it's going to get fun, everybody. Okay. So Fridays, you're going to listen to them read controlled text, a decodable text. And you're also going to do that throughout the day whenever you have a minute, right? Make every moment count. And so this is Kelly Little, and she's got, she ordered from a program called From Sounds to Spelling. And she's going to talk about why she did that, because you know, programs aren't perfect, but she did need a place to start and didn't have any decodables. So this program had all the decodables included with it. She printed them all off and she color codes everything. This is what you're going to do. So with your decodables, everything that's CVC is going to have a red, is going to be in red, like a red binder or red masking tape. This is a digraphs. Everything that has to do with digraphs, you're going to have an orange masking tape on the binding. It also keeps the booklet. She said booklets, even though they were paper, they lasted the whole year and they held up for the following year, no problem. So here's another picture. Here's the masking tape you can get from Amazon. And this is how so everything CVC is red. Everything digraphs is orange. Everything in blends is yellow. Controlled, R controlled is going to be green, silent E blue, and vowel teams are going to be in violet. So you can see she started here with the red. The CVCs and the digraphs have all got the tape on them. She wasn't quite done when this picture was going on. And now every student needs, I'm grabbing my orange booklet. That's the one I'm on. That's the one I know I can read. And so the booklets can go into their little cubbies. They can go into her box, and she can grab, you as the teacher can grab whatever you need at a moment's notice without even looking at the title of the book. You know it's going to be okay. So you're going to, throughout the day, listen to students read. You're going to make a note of who you want to read with each day and try to get to 4 to 5 students a day. Have everyone and anyone you can think of listen to them read. Have them read to each other. Have them read to reading buddies. Have them read to parent volunteers. Whatever you can do. It's not just, you know, it's not just going to be in your literacy block. It's just whenever there's a moment. So what do you have to, I need a breath. Let's pause. So here's what you need to prepare. You're going to get your phonemic awareness page for your small group from Equip from Reading Success. You're going to get your slide or card deck ready. So these, you can just use cue cards with letters on them. That's it. Your cookie sheets with your magnet letters, have them all stacked up ready to hand out. You're going to have your list of words. I have a link under resources at letsgetreadingright.com. Under resources, you're going to see links for word lists, like words if you need to get word lists. There's lots of places to get that. You're going to have cubes ready to go, and decodable texts, whatever you're going to be reading, and lots of pencils, erasers, and highlighters. That's it. And you're going to make a binder for each student, and they get a nice cute little sticker, and whenever they're done working with you, they get to put a sticker on their binder. It's kind of a fun little reward before they go off. So what's going to go in there? Your little whiteboard, tiny, this is a very light, thin one, and I just put 2 red pieces of electrical tape and a permanent marker for the dotted line. A spoon and your letter page will go, so everything you need for the week will go there. Your spoon and your spoon activity, if you're doing that, will go in the little thing. Your game, whichever game you're playing, will go into the binder, and your list of sentences and words that they're going to highlight will go into there. Okay. All right, so then you're going to make a weekly lesson plan so you know what you're doing at the beginning of the week. Which words are you going to use? What's your poem going to be of the day? Just get really, really organized. The other students, what are they doing for 20 minutes? They're playing games. This is also a great podcast, right? Put your earbuds in, get your running shoes on, and listen to this one. Talks a lot about small group instruction, sound walls. You're going to love that one. This is my idea for games. So you're going to play on Mondays. They're all going to play board games. On Tuesdays, bingo games. On Wednesdays, boom games. On Thursdays, roll and read. On Fridays, card games. So I've got CVC games ready to go for you if you want them already made. You probably have a lot of games, and that's it. But the thing about games is you're going to do two things that you might not have thought about before. You're not just going to send them off with a game. They have to do two things while they're playing the game. One is to make up a sentence after landing on a word or reading a word. They have to make up a crazy or fun sentence. And two, they have to extend their sentence. So you can give them a little cue card. I like literally give them a cue card with physical paper clips, so that for link to represent the links, and get them to make sentences after they land on whatever word in the game they play, right? So the word is snack. The rat ate my snack. And then the other students have to go like this to show they have to extend their sentence. The rat ate my snack, so I had to get a new snack. I don't know, they'll think of it better. And the rat ate my snack, and that's okay because I didn't want to eat it anyway. The rat ate my snack, but he left some for me. So those are the things you're going to get the students to do while they're not working with you. So they're hopefully staying more on task. They can, after their games, they can also read their decodable to their game partner, to a parent, volunteer, a reading buddy, or anyone you can find. But this is not a time for independent reading time. So that's not appropriate for leaving kids to independently read on their own. Sure, if you're, if you just, there's going to be time, but in terms of your instructional time in your literacy block, just having, that's a rainbow and unicorn idea. That would be fun. That would be great to just let children peruse books all day, but it's really, really important that we focus on doing specific things during our instructional time. And then you could also get them to write about the content knowledge topic you read about in the morning. That's it. Those are the 3 blocks. Now let's look at some resources. There's my link. I've already shown you that, but I just put it under resources as well to my blog. Now here is the Sounds to Spelling program, and here's why Kelly Little, she talks about why she chose it. So this is kind of a cool.
And that's what I look for on TPT. Or I'll just look for from sounds to spellings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I looked at a few of them and decided, so I think it was like $200 or something, but it's helpful to have, especially when you're starting, something laid out. Is it the best thing in the entire world? I don't think any program is.
No.
But and there was so much in our IDA course this year about, we need a starting point. Like, this is so overwhelming and we're learning too. So yeah, I am thankful that I bought this, and I think that was a good choice.
Whoops.
And that's what I look for on TPT.
Oh, here. Sorry. This is also a program that everybody's trying to get their hands on. It's sort of the program that has finally come out that gives teachers that structure that they're looking for. But if you don't have your hands on that, or can't, or don't, or whatever, this is more. Kelly, keep in mind that she bought this program and she spent $200, $165 US, but she's been taking a science of reading training, structured literacy training for 2 years. So she has the knowledge to know what's going to make her teaching more effective and what to leave. And so here she is talking again.
Good investment, because
Because
sometimes it's like, even just picking, where do I start? Like, you can get so overwhelmed. And then
why was it $200? That's a lot. Why was it $200?
It was the whole year. So like, it's an insane amount of stuff that, like.
Oh, so you copied all that and put it in.
And like all the decodables and everything. So
the decodables were just paper things that you copied.
Yeah.
And stapled.
So like, they're just little papers.
I love it. Can you read that one? Let me hear it. A wish for a fish.
This is a wish for a fish. Dan and I sit in a shed. We look at my fish and wish.
Let me see the picture. Can I see the picture? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so the ones that you buy off TPT, most of them, again, like, teachers have worked hard on these, and then they use clip art that just kind of fits what's happening. She paid a clip artist to make pictures that actually
so
show
that
the
was just a
story.
little blurb. I am going to talk about that sound wall. Don't worry, we'll get there. There's the info for that. But then if you just want some, I'm going to tell you about these bingo chip activities. They're really fun. But there's a CVC decodable bundle for first grade for $11. So I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that resource there for you. You're going to all love this idea. I loved this. So these books all have the exact same thing in them. So all of these, see how it's red and the digraphs are orange. She's following the same code pattern. She used inside these, she's got these activities from Sarah Paul that are bingo chip activities. So I finally found these cool, I didn't know that bingo chips could be magnetic. So listen to what she says about these booklets.
Either pull a quick connected text that they've been doing, or these books were really handy. So
okay, so
these are the ones.
what are they all, like the red section, the red books, are they all the same?
They're all the same. I have 5 of each, so that if I am doing it in a small group, everyone can have it. But or like, this is why, because sometimes as much as you plan, sometimes you don't realize like, oh, I have a random 5 minutes available now because everyone washed their hands really quickly. So I could just be like, Erin, come here. So that's why come here. And then I would open the book, and like, these are good to go. Like, they practice, this one's CVC. So whatever they need help with, you can read the words. And then they love bingo chips that are magnetic. Have you seen this? Oh my gosh. So like, at my little table, I had all these, and I had magnetic bingo chips and whiteboard markers. So all of these activities can be done with those 2 things. So for this one, they would read both words, which one is the picture, and they put their bingo chip on it. And after they do the page, you take the magnet wand.
Okay, I'm lost. I'm totally lost. Okay.
Oh no, I'm
so
sorry.
Start again. So what does the student have? The student has a whiteboard and a marker?
No, they just have this
They
book.
just have the binder.
Yeah, because these are in page protectors. You can whiteboard.
What's magnetic then?
These little bingo chips. Do I have them
them
here? I don't think I have them here.
How are they magnetic?
They have it's for like hardcore bingo people. I guess they use them, but they're on Amazon, and they're like huge buy-in. My daughter plays
There they
with
are.
them. Where
If you
are
can see
hers?
me in the corner.
Yeah, they're just magnetic bingo chips.
And then at
I
the
do
end,
not
they
know
just
where
go
she
like
put
that.
them, but they just look like little clear bingo chips.
Okay, I'll find them on Amazon, right?
Oh my gosh, they love them.
And okay, so they've got how many bingo chips?
I have a little basket, so they just grab them. It's very quick. All of this is just like in the moment, quick. Make every moment count kind of thing.
Right.
That's it.
Okay,
So make every moment count, everybody. Here's how you also are going to make every moment count is you're going to use simple scripts. So here we go. Joanne, can you, or somebody, can you pop on and do this with me? So here, say this word here. So say the short sound, aw. Now read the word flop. Say flop. Flop. Now give me a sentence with flop, only make it past tense. Flopped.
Oh, my dog flopped to the ground when we told him he couldn't come outside.
Oh, beautiful long sentence. Flopped. How do you change flop to flopped?
Well, you have an ED there. Do I have to add ED?
You have to add ED. That's right. And what sound does the ED make on flopped? Does it make the t, d, or id?
Well, I think it's t, t, t.
T, 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 right? It makes flopped. Can you hear it? Flopped. Good. And what spelling rule did we have to use to change flop to flopped? Is it the doubling rule, the take off the E rule, or the change Y to I rule? Flop to flopped.
Well, I'll be smart and I'll say the doubling rule.
The doubling rule. That's right. We have to add the so this is how we integrate. Oh, and flopped. Is that a person, place, or thing? An action or an adjective?
Well, I saw my dog do this, so I think it's an action.
It's an action word. We call that a verb. So there you go. We just integrated a lot when we laid down a card when we were playing a game. And if you're looking for simple scripts like that, you can go to my blog and look for this picture and 12 helpful scripts for routine word and sentence level routines so that you can include things like what's the base word, right? So maybe the word was flopped. And then I'm going to ask Joanne, what's the base word of flopped?
Oh, is it flop?
Flop, that's right. And then, how do you change take to taking or whatever? There's lot, and you can even do that where they're reading. Now we're getting to the end. We're doing well, I think. Thank you, Joanne, so much. This is Kelly Little's word wall last year, and she's going to change it up this year because that's what we do as teachers. We make it better and better and better every year. So she had this alphabet all along the top here. So that is, she's got more room this year. So I will see, I don't know what she did, but this alphabet's going to come and go on a different wall. These are the most important things. If you're going to have a sound wall, make sure it's organized by short, well, this is what I would do, short vowels, and long vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and then you can put your spellings under them. And she's covered them up until she teaches them. And then you've got your ow, ow, oi, oi, ah, and your bossy R's here. Now, all these consonants, that's quite cumbersome and that's quite overwhelming. So those are going to go either on another wall. I think she said she considered getting rid of them, but didn't because the kids really used them. Really, it's the consonants that, yeah, anyway, she said they really use them. So we're not going to get rid of it all, but we're going to move it around so that it's for different purposes. So, you know, I don't know if all of that is necessary, but definitely what I would have is I would have things, and then I would have a wild word wall. And so this is Kelly, this is us talking about a wild word.
Somebody had said to have one with like a rabbit coming out a hat, and it says tricksters. So those would be the words that don't at all sound like one. Like O-N-E one would be it wouldn't be under O, it would be under this tricksters one because it doesn't sound like it starts with. Don't know. What are your thoughts?
Let's see. So we have to do it as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Are a lot of those high frequency words, are there just like 20 that kids keep misspelling?
I wanted to just mention
like, would
that,
you say that they
we do have to do something with the wild words, right? Because they do get misspelled a lot because we're teaching kids how to spell phonetically, but we also have to teach them those heart words. So, right, you could call them heart words, or you know, the words that don't follow the rules. So this is what we're talking about, is how do we make sure that we do better at teaching them?
all of them, or would you say that you're just going to, like, I would just call them wild words, and they just go on the wild word wall, but you don't try to do the whole Dolch list or fry words.
No,
right?
yeah, I wouldn't put all, like,
No.
I wouldn't put those ones up.
Like, how many are we talking? Like, can they just?
It just added up by the end of the year, like probably like 40.
Yeah, so I wonder if you had the students, first of all, make them themselves.
The card.
Yeah, so they put on a sticky note what they struggled with. Maybe it was said. They put the heart where the AI, the part they have to remember, AI, and then they stick it on the wild word board or whatever, your tricksters. I wouldn't call it tricksters, because one teacher told me, an OG teacher told me, we want to really make sure children don't think that the language is tricky.
That's a good point.
We want them to think that it all makes sense. So it's just that some words went wild, or you could call it a heart word wall. It's hard to say. So one of the things I would make sure that you do is get the students to make their, like, I would have little cards, like cue cards. Well, I can show you, like a, go put that word on a cue card, because I feel like if they make it, they know where it is, they're going to use it, and they're like, that's my word.
Yeah.
And then everybody's words can go on there. And if there are two words that are the same, you could even have a little like game where you have like said and there and there and there and all your basic, let's say there are 20 at first, and you got 20, and like who wins? Like, oh, I misspelled said too, and said is one of my heart words too. And like said, 4 or 5 kids have written their own cue card with said on it. And now you've got said. And then the kids go, oh, that's a hard one. Everybody in the class is messing that one up. And then they kind of start to pay attention more.
No, I like that. Yeah.
Because they're making it themselves, and because they see they're not the only one. And they see, these are the 10 big ones. The, said, was, of, to. Right? You get your 10 big ones, and then you're like, okay, do you think we all have the? Do you think okay, let's get rid of that. Get rid of the, if you really see that they've mastered it. And now you kind of shuffle things. So it's a real, instead of staying up there all year in the same position, the same thing, it's like the plant in your house you never see. Like I've got these 3 jars in my window. I never see those. They're just there all the
Okay,
time.
that's enough of that. Okay, so Kelly Little got her her free sound wall from Mrs. Winter's Bliss, and she just took the mouth movements that she liked and used them, and she thought that was pretty good. It's like decent and done, right? Here's where you can get your magnetic letter tiles. I've got links to all kinds of things under resources. Sarah Paul has free download for letter tiles if you wanted to use those. Again, remember, you're going to look at these links after the webinar. Don't worry, they're all going to be there. Here is the promo code that you can use for, you can click there to order, and you can order, okay, there's a difference. So you can order these games separately just online at soundreaders.ca, and I'll give you a coupon code for that. But these games also come in a little course I made. It's like a 6-day course. It won't take you 6 days at all, but what it comes with are the templates for these games. So if you wanted to do this roll and read with new words, like all your SH, all your digraph words, you can just quickly put in those words. And so if you wanted the templates, you can use IDA SR25 and get 25% off if you click there. They're also available separately, like I said, here and here. Now, today you can all get, you can use promo code IDA SR50 and get 50% off all the digital card sets and board games at soundreaders.ca. I hope that helps. I hope that's good. These are really fun. And again, once the students, don't forget, once the students lay down a card, they must make up a sentence, preferably a crazy one, but a crazy one that still makes syntax sense. And then get them to stretch out their sound. So that's how you're going to integrate the oral language into the decoding. Does that make sense? They must make up a sentence and extend their sentence. Okay. And then everything else, you know, if you want to talk to me, or the resources are here, training is here, great blogs by researchers are here. Take a look at it. And that's it. Joanne, I did it. 8:52.
You are nothing short of amazing. We are breathless. We can't imagine how you feel.
Relieved. I would rather spend 4 hours and go slowly, but we were just laughing at, maybe we could get everybody to listen to the webinar and just tell them to slow it down, because usually I speed up my YouTube videos. This one you got to slow down. Maybe.
We are so full of gratitude. You have to know there's so much interest, so many questions. So you're not done.
Okay.
But we just want to reiterate, if you would like a certificate of attendance this evening, you will be offered one in the follow-up email. The certificate costs $10 if you're not a member of IDA, and it's free if you are a member of IDA, and they'll only be given out for people who attended live. All right. And Martha, could we begin the questions? Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
All right. I'm going into the questions. And Jill Carney is going to be assisting me with the questions. Okay. So we have categories of questions.
They were pouring in. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Would you like to start, Jill?
Sure. I think I'll start with the question which has to do with differentiation of instruction when you have a split class, where you've obviously got an even bigger challenge in that area. So do you have, we had a few questions specifically about a split 1-2 for whole group activities or the general literacy block plan for split class. That might be a tough question.
Yeah,
Maybe
it is a tough
to
question.
start with.
There's no doubt about it. But what I will say is, just because a student, let's remember that just because students can read at a higher reading level, it certainly doesn't mean they know how to spell. And just because they know how to read and they seem to be able to write, it's often they're kind of memorizing. So to go through the specific patterns, sort of at this stage of the game, with so many variables that have been holding children back, I would say that you're still going to be okay with grade 2, just going through step by step, getting those, going through a scope and sequence. And how you differentiate is you can start to include morphology. So
Mhm.
you're going to do a little bit more of those suffixes.
Sure.
And you're going to do a little bit more of the, the 3 spelling rules a little bit quicker. And you're going to do a little bit more of the, parts of speech, nouns, verbs, adjectives, right? You're going to just do a little bit more integration of these kinds of things.
Yes.
You're going to do, here's what you're going to do. I got the answer. Do the same thing.
Sorry, Martha, just can you stop the share screen so we can see you?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So I've got a good answer. Multi-syllable words.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your child needs, and plus it could be students in grade 1 who need the challenge. We don't know. It depends on what your assessment, your screening says. So if a child needs differentiation, it's really easy. You just you integrate more of the morphology and you do multi-syllable words with them.
Yeah.
Yes, we had one question. A grade 1 teacher who's a few students are reading chapter books. So, yeah. So I like
again. Are they spelling at that level?
Yes.
Right. So that's the thing is usually students, even though they're reading well, they don't mind learning how to spell as well. And yes, they're decoding and they're reading and maybe those students are reading to other students and they're listening to other students read because they are in grade 2 and they are going to be reading chapter books. And so it's a tough question, like this was sort of a grade 1 focus. That would be ideal for grade 1. Now, if you have a 1-2, again, the spelling with multi-syllable words is going to give them that differentiation they need to stay stimulated, because I can't tell you how many times lots of kids know how to read, but they can't spell.
Yeah.
And we want to get
Also,
that by grade 2. I've seen some research that says it's just, as we all know, so much harder to keep up with that past grade 2.
Yeah. I guess as well in grade 2, they're going into more complex phonics too, and scope and sequence that probably wouldn't have been finished at the end of grade 1. So you
No
just
way.
continue on.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you'll all be
Continue to.
I'm constantly surprised at how much I have to go back to triple blends and short vowels still.
Yeah.
And you just you think I've seen so many when the way we used to do phonics was like, okay, we do sort of short vowels, and now we're going to go right into Magic E, and now we're going to do the vowel teams, and there's our phonics. You can't, there's this much to do before we even get to Magic E. There's a lot to do before we get to vowel teams, a lot. And that includes, so I wouldn't be surprised if the grade 2s needed to get back to that. And then if they don't, that's great. You know where they're at and you just kind of follow along the scope and sequence in a different way. I wish I could be more help in that regard. That's
I think that's a great answer. Someone's had a specific question for the kids when they're printing and saying sounds simultaneously. So the SOS, and they were doing the example you did. She was doing it with her finger. Yes.
2 fingers. Yep.
Yeah, if you maybe just go over that board a bit more, because we had another question about is this red tape? Like, what did you
It's red electrical tape from the
and they're
dollar
not
store.
using a pen or pencil, they're just using fingers.
I have found that with my students, and I work with all dyslexic students, some very profound. And so I find when they use 2 fingers and they go C, cat, k, that transfers to their writing quite nicely. They're able to go from this, which is a little bit bigger, and they go faster. B, full. But did you see how fast little Gloria was going? E,
yeah.
Exercise, T, ta, ta. And so that's what we want, the automaticity, so that we reduce that cognitive load. So that's my way of making that more automatic, the printing. And that's an OG. It's not my way. It's OG, right? It's what I've learned. It's certainly not my way. And so what I've seen though, is it does reduce the cognitive load in that respect. And I've never, ever, and I've worked with kids with pretty severe dysgraphia, grade 4, can't read a thing. Actually, it improves their writing so much. And they start to write when you do the SOS printing, and it does transfer from here to there. Yeah. So yeah, that's.
I should just say SOS. Someone asked what that stood for, and it's simultaneous.
yeah, simultaneous oral spelling. Yeah, that
Right.
is an Orton Gillingham type of instructional approach.
I'm going to ask one more question, and then Joanne can take a turn. And I'm going to ask one that I don't want to put you on the spot, but in the example with the little girl sounding out and tapping out the sounds in clog, I believe, and you had
Yes.
3 cubes,
Yes.
4 sounds, 3 cubes. We've had a lot of reaction to that. Just
Oh,
I don't want to put you on the
I know.
spot.
Oh, how dare I? Okay, so
Yeah.
listen,
So,
I
no.
know, I know, I know.
I
So
know you
listen,
know.
you couldn't go k, l, a, g. But the way that I teach blends is I don't go to blends for a long time. The children do end blends much more easily. Whoops. End blends are much easier, and I do keep those separate than beginning blends. So we do, like TCH and DGE and CK and floss and all those things before initial blends.
Mhm.
I try to like steer away from that. And when I introduce initial blends, I introduce them as S blends. Sorry, I introduce L blends first, and they start to get to know the teams, right? They learn L blends, and then they do R blends, and then they do S blends. And so they get used to hearing cl, cl,
Okay.
sl, pl, dl, fl. And so that's why she did it that way. That being said, you're the teacher, and you know if a child is having trouble with cl, I'm glad that video is in there. Cl, and they're not really, then I put 2 down and we go cl, and I absolutely do that when they need it. So that would be in your small group. As a large group, you do one thing, and is in your small group with your kids who need that extra. It's kind of like your small group is sort of tier 2, right? You're going deeper, and you're getting, so sometimes you have to separate it out to k-l. But I found enough success with just kl, fl,
Sure.
bl.
I guess the trick is just being consistent, and if it's working for that
Well,
child,
it's different children need different things. And
Yeah.
so even when I'm kind of consistent, I'm not,
Right,
because I'm
okay.
going to do what the child needs.
Sure. Sure. I will interrupt here that we're getting some notices here that the discount code isn't working. And also
Okay, you have to go to
link.
ca.ca, not .com.
I think people
Okay, so
they were. But anyways, and
soundreaders.ca.
also someone saying that link to the code pack is not working. I think, how will we try and
Okay, so here's
we're
what
not
you're
going to
going
worry
to do.
about those right now, but we can send that out in the email.
Can
to
I just
follow
show
up.
you how to get to the code pack right away? Because I think people would like that immediately, and we don't want them to wait till tomorrow. So let me share my screen and go to Firefox, and I'm going to go to letsgetreadingright.com. All right.
I'll just answer that question about the sounds are being taught as the blends are being taught as 2 sounds, but they're in the example we saw, they were kind of mapping it onto one block because they have learned them to kind of stick together. But I don't think you're never anyway suggesting it be taught as a digraph.
Oh,
No.
no.
No. Yeah.
No. What I say is it's a cluster, and these are very common groups. And we have this really fun day where we say, you're never going to see FJ together. You're never going to see TZ together. Well, it's in English. You're never going to see, and then they make it up, right? And then we say, these are common clusters. These are clusters that go together. You're going to see them hang out together a lot. And that's how I talk about it. So if you're looking for the code pack right here, right now, go to letsgetreadingright.com, click on blogs. Here we go, right here, click on blogs. And it's coming. Let's see, why is that not? Oh no. Okay.
Oh, you're clicking on your, no.
Okay, there we go. So here are the blogs. Please read that one. It's so important. So see this one here? That's my son. He does that kind of art. He's really brilliant artist. Dyslexia, DLD, everything. So now click on connecting the science of reading with the art of implementation, and the code pack link will always be there. There it is. Oh, and there's the link to Kate Wynn's webinar. So click here, my Google slide code. There it is. Okay, and the 90-minute daily literacy block schedule will always be there. And if I change it, the link or I'm just going to change it here. So you can always keep track of these things here. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
And the link for the IDA, for the You have to go to soundreaders.ca, not .com.
I think they're doing that. They're saying.
Okay, and it's saying it's not working.
Mhm.
Oh, you can't do you can't do the IDA. Okay, here's the difference. I'm going to take you to my website. I'm so sorry for the confusion, but it is confusing. But watch. Let's clear this up so you don't have to deal with this. So when you go to soundreaders.ca, because we're in Canada, you're going to see the shop. Wait, what are we looking for? Oh, okay. If you want all those games and you want the templates, you have to go to courses and click on Literacy Center's course. And then there's the how to organize science reading literacy centers. There are the games. This is what it includes. It's $50 US. That's where you click to get the templates. If you don't care about getting the templates where you get to fill in your own words with the other vowel teams and patterns that you're going to be teaching, forget this page and and that's where you use the link IDASR25. Okay, that's where you use this and you'll get 25% off that. Now, if you want everything else, go to the shop. I think this will clear it up. And if it doesn't, I'll figure it out. You go to the shop and you can click on any of these digital games, digital download, eDex, 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 eDex. And then you type in SR at the promo code when you check out, SRIDA 50, and you'll get 50% off when you go to checkout, when you use that promo code. Does that make more sense?
I think it was IDASR.
Yeah, IDASR.
Yeah, you said
50.
IDA.
Oh, no, it's IDASR.
I'm putting it in the
Good.
chat.
IDASR 50. That's for all your digital games on the soundreaders.ca website. If you want the templates, though, you have to go to the course.
Yes. Okay. And these are good for how long, those discount codes?
October 31st.
Okay. Good decision.
Look, I got my don't you love those? Oh my God, I'm so excited about that.
And where did you get those? Someone did ask.
Amazon, so easy.
And
Amazon, you get all different colors, and it wasn't they're magnetic bingo chips. So they've got a little silvery thing on it around the outside. I just think the children are going to be so motivated to do all that, and then they get to go and off they go to play.
Okay, someone's saying here it still isn't working. It says this promo code is only valid for specific purposes.
Okay, I can fix that when we're done here. I can fix that in a heartbeat. I don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, but I'm going to fix that. I promise you. That's such a bummer. I can't do it right now because I won't be able to think and do that at the same time, but I'll be able to fix that.
No, let's not think about it. I'm sure
as soon as I'm off here and I talk to you guys, I will have it, let's say by like 10 o'clock tonight. No worries. It'll take me, I don't know what I did. Well, that's a drag.
That's okay.
It'll be there though. Just follow the same instructions. IDA SR 50. That's what you really want.
And IDA SR 25 was the previous one.
And that's the one for you have to go to the course. It's a different page to order.
Yeah, and the certificate, people are asking about the certificate of completion. That link will be sent in the follow-up email that will be prepared tomorrow or some other day. Our admin person, unfortunately, is on holidays this week, so I'm not sure when that'll.
Don't forget, we got door prizes. We have 2 door prizes.
Yeah, no, so there's more questions. Joanne's got some questions.
Yep. So regarding those certificates of completion, our administrative person, Melinda, said that she would send the link to the recording, the link to the certificates of completion, and a document with the resources that were shared in the chat next week. So when she comes back, it'll get done. For sure, by the end of next week, you'll have everything you want. Okay? And in terms of activities now, we have another category. Are you saying, Martha, that there will be small group activities, but we generally teach these activities in a whole group setting so everyone knows what to do when it's time to go into their smaller groups? Yes.
Well, you're just going to do the smaller groups and you're going to enforce those what you did in the large group. You're just going to reinforce it with the 8 kids who really most need it.
I see.
You-
Okay.
the rest of the kids are going to be playing games, making up oral sentences and having a ball. And they're going to be learning, and they're going to be extending their sentences, and they're going to be writing, and they're going to be reading. And they're only going to be alone for 20 minutes. So it's not a big deal. And you're going to really target those kids you need with the largest gap.
Exactly.
Did that answer the question?
Second question. That's wonderful. Second question. How long do the kids sit during one time? There was a concern that some kids in the whole group, kids might be sitting for too long. And do you do movement breaks? I don't know.
Well, I always do movement. I mean, I constantly do stretching and breathing, first of all. And second of all, no, they're up to the board and down, and next person up to the board and down. And now we're back at our seats, and now you're back at the carpet, and now you're back to do the 10 sentences, 10 words they're writing at their desks, and to write the sentences they're writing at their desks. That keeps things organized, right? And easier. And then they're back at the carpet, and it flows. It's not like they're up and down when you're doing the alphabet stuff. You're just making sure you're giving everybody as many turns as you can.
That's lovely. Quick.
And
quick
you know what? If it doesn't work for you, change it. It's just a suggestion. There isn't a rule book on this yet.
Right. And actually, people are asking, will we be doing this same evening for grade 2 and then grade 3? People are curious. So how would you modify for grade 2? Would you
I would do the exact same thing, only you're going to be farther ahead in your scope and sequence.
Exactly. Yay. Children love movement, activity, variety. If you're not having fun, they're not having fun. That was always my philosophy as a teacher. Yes, I get excited.
Yeah. I'm really excited about the bingo chips. I just love the way Kelly Little, thank you, Kelly, organized all of that. I just feel like it's really, really focused, and she is having a ball, right? So that tells you something.
Yes. And parents always want homework. What do you suggest?
Read.
Of course.
Read.
What kind of reading?
Read to your kid. High quality children's literature.
Yeah.
Teach them to ask their children what they see, what they think. Teach them to use their body language. Teach them to pause. Teach them to ask good questions. Teach them why we're reading aloud.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the why, right? Mm-hmm. Tell them why. Teach them to build vocabulary.
Yes. Okay. And we have another question. Where do we fit in learning about writing forms?
I'm not sure what
maybe genres or maybe
like expository and narrative text and things like that.
I'm assuming, yeah.
Okay, so you're going to do that when you are again, this is not set in stone. You might take one day a week and do something different, or one of your maybe Tuesdays, Thursdays, you do that, right? You're writing narrative, but expository, you're going to be doing that with science and social studies.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
In the afternoon. Keep it simple, everybody. Keep it simple. You're going to be writing about science and social studies topics and history. Get more history, because we don't have a history for kindergarten to grade 3, but they love history.
All right.
Go to core knowledge, even pull some stuff from there even. But that's where they're going to do writing, and they should be writing a good, 50% of the time they're in school. Right.
How would you modify for ESL students?
The way that this is set up, it's perfect for ESL students, right? Because you're really starting from scratch, and you're taking them from where they are. And if they don't have dyslexia, that can go by pretty quickly. You can learn that very quickly. If they have dyslexia, it's going to be harder. It's not. I have to be honest. It's not my specialty, because I've been in. It's just not, for a couple of reasons. So I'm going to defer that to people like, oh my God, Kim Lockhart, and people who have much more experience with how they would differentiate with that. But my understanding is these steps, the way we have it systematically and explicitly explained to them, and the routines, some of the routines might be boring for teachers, but they're not for the students.
Exactly. Okay.
So you got to find a way to make it fun for you.
Yes. Okay. Jill, would you like to continue?
Sorry, I'm here. Yes, this is a bit of a one, and I think some of what you've shown us is relevant, but maybe, yeah, I'll ask it, but this is a bit of a big one on terms of activities of doing all of this work online. Of course, we have some.
Oh, I've got
here
good
today.
suggestions for online. I'm the online queen. We
Great.
could do a whole other thing on online. Go to WordWall. Can I show you an example? Oh, online is great. First of all, you've got the online code pack. Second of all, you use a doc cam for your tapping. And I've had my students either I put it under the doc cam and I tap, or they draw 3 circles at the top of their page and they color the vowel one in. And they tap themselves and they do it, and they get their own notebook at home and they tilt the screen down so I can see it. And just go to WordWall. It is so fun. There are so many games at WordWall and book widgets, and that's all I use.
And I think
then,
WordWall includes things that other people have prepared already, and you can also.
Well, I've got everything on WordWall. You just type in my name or sound readers or something, like type soundreaders.com or soundreaders.com in brackets, and you'll get all my games.
Or .ca.
Or .ca or Martha Kovack,
Okay.
Kovack, don't forget the C, or something. Rummage around and you'll find all the games I've made, and they're done for you. You can use them for just $8 a month for WordWall. I
Just
love it.
a word of warning that there are many activities there that are not particularly aligned with.
Oh, so many. I would just stick to mine or make your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Find some trustworthy resources.
Yeah, if you can go to the community, you'll find
Yeah.
people don't have the training. So
no.
just
there's
use
some
mine,
great,
find it. And if you really have a hard time, just email me and I'll try to figure out how to get you in. But
there's lots of great kind of built-in templates for games, etc., that you use with the word lists and sentences that you're using.
And I integrate, right? When they turn over the word flop, I do the same thing I did with Joanne, right? How do you give me a sentence for flop? And they tell me, and we build vocabulary, and all the words I've chosen are usually higher vocabulary words. Like instead of, pill, sill, will, I'll do gill or something. Well, that's probably not a great example because of the G, but do you know what I mean? Like I've really carefully chosen all the words in every game I've ever made are chosen for their high level vocabulary. And I will pick, fad over had if I had a chance.
Yes. Yeah.
So
to get them.
There's that part that you want to include too that I've done. And that's the same with all my CVC games on the Sound Readers website. They're all carefully constructed.
Yeah.
With separate. I think there are like 34 games just for short A.
Yeah. Because
they're, I keep an and am separate and that kind of thing. So yeah, WordWall, you have to be careful with that. Yeah. But go to Sound. All of my games should be okay, with the exception of human error, mistakes here and there.
Yeah. That's very generous of you to share that. Maybe one more question, Joanne, about this. There's a number of questions about resources, but I think a lot of the resources have been included in the presentation and links. There is something here about what type of paper do you recommend for learning to write or print letters? And
I use this for writing and printing letters.
Yeah.
Okay, and your
once
hand.
You have them on writing on paper.
But when you're printing words, like for the SOS printing, I just use a notebook that has the lines. You get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And even for older students, you don't need the middle line. You can just get a regular lined paper. Yeah. And some kids will use 2 or 3 lines to make, because they have to write in bigger, and some will squish it in the 2. Just let them do whatever they need.
We do have a few questions here. Maybe I shouldn't jump over this about universal screening. Do you have a universal screener that you recommend? We have had
Dibbles.
other webinars on this
Dibbles.
topic. Yeah, Dibbles.
I do Dibbles myself. I find that easy. I haven't had the Acadians training, so I don't.
Which is really Dibbles next, and then we have Dibbles, the new Dibbles, just to
I know.
clarify.
Acadians feels more official somehow.
Yeah,
because Dibbles is all free, and but
Acadians is for profit, but they offer great training and great systems to
So I would do
collate
Acadians,
the data, et cetera. Yeah,
but Dibbles is easy peasy. I mean,
yeah, and it's free.
I love it. And you get a baseline and then you watch the little dot go up over the course of the year. And hopefully sometimes it goes down and then, but hopefully it's doing somewhat up.
So we
It's
should,
really,
sorry, ladies, we should mention that the Literacy Leaders series is on screening. And there's a video of our August 31st first session, and there are 2 more sessions this fall. And it's being hosted by Una Malcolm. And we have 3 teachers who are describing their use of universal screening and how they progress monitor and how they change their interventions to they use the data to inform their intervention, and they change their interventions for maximum success of their students. So really nice little plug here for that lovely series, which is also free. Alicia, do you think, is it time for us to share the winners of the 2 prizes?
Yes, I think we should probably do that because we're getting on for time for sure. So we have 2 prize winners tonight, Margaret Taylor and Susan Stephen, who I did notify in the chat, but if you didn't see that, please email us tomorrow at info@idaontario.com. And I actually had one additional one that I was hoping to share my screen and give out a surprise prize, because this was just so amazing. I feel that these people need a prize, so I'm going to make one up. So if I could just share my screen quickly.
oh,
Martha.
sorry. I'll stop sharing. I
Okay.
forgot to share that slide. I wasn't listening.
That, hey, here it is. Okay, I just saw this on Twitter, and I think everyone should see this. Wait, can you see this?
Yes.
You see, yes, a great webinar with great colleagues. Have I ever told you how much I love my work family? So I see this whole group of people here. We're enjoying your webinar, which I think is amazing. So I think we need to give this group of people some sort of special prize. So we will figure that out tomorrow. Carrie Wood, I will track you down on Twitter and we will get you.
Oh, we got to get that group some card games for sure. I can do that. I can help you with that. I can help you with that.
Excellent.
Carrie Wood. All right.
And we did have someone say that
That's
the
beautiful.
discount code is working for the card games. So there you go.
Yeah, it's only the digital games. So you can't get the ready-made.
Right.
It's
Okay,
only
maybe
the
that's the
digital.
confusion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anything that you can download and print. Yeah. So should I show this? Are we doing this now?
Yes, we are. Go ahead, Martha.
Well, I don't know who's the winner.
Oh, Alicia did share the names.
Oh, I missed it.
Sorry.
Really
I
not
said it quickly.
really not listening tonight.
Okay.
It's Margaret Taylor
Oh.
and Susan Stephen.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
Yay.
Hey. All right. So finally, it's time to say thank you so much, Martha, for your generous contribution tonight. We are so grateful. Thank you, Alicia and Jill. It takes a village to present these things, and we really appreciate everyone's efforts. And finally, please consider supporting the work of IDA Ontario by becoming a member or making a donation or volunteering. For any of these things, click on Take Action on the website menu. And thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great evening. Have a great school year with all these lovely strategies and resources. All right. Good night, everyone.